So I want to show you how to use the Titman Edge system and get the most out of it, because a good quality diamond stone should last you a number of years. So first I want to show you what's a little bit different about these diamond stones than other diamond stones I've used in the past and you may have used. So these stones in particular are two-sided. There's 1,000 grit on one side, there's 300 on the other, and we have these available in different grits. But this is kind of my go-to stone because the 300 grit is pretty coarse, and the 1,000 grit, even though it says 1,000, is really more like a 3,000 or 4,000 grit water stone, but it cuts like a 600 grit stone. So it cuts quickly, but leaves you a really nice edge. So I find this is what I use in my shop 90% of the time. And when you're looking at diamond stones, you want a stone like this that is precision ground before it is plated. There's a couple different ways that you can hold diamonds onto the surface of a diamond stone. A lot of the times you'll find these diamond stones that are plastic substrates with a thin metal surface. Now those are not truly flat. And the definition of a sharp edge is two flat planes meeting together at a point, and that's our cutting edge. So if there's any sort of dip or roll in the stone, it's going to be that much harder to get a good quality edge. So these Titman Edge stones are precision ground before the diamonds are adhered onto them. Now, these are electroplated diamonds. That means the precision ground stones are loaded in a tank, and then currents pass through them, and the nickel plating with the diamonds are attracted to the surface. And it gives you a really good bond. And it's about 1/3 of the diamond surface that's sticking above the electroplating, so they're held down really well. But what that also means is that when you get a stone and it's brand new like this one is, it's going to be extra sharp. And it's going to be extra sharp because there is a roughly a loose layer of diamonds sitting on top that are not actually adhered. So we need to break all those off. And you'll actually notice that the first 4 or 5 times you use your stone, it will feel like it cuts much quicker than it does on your subsequent sharpenings. That's because you're getting rid of those loose diamonds. There's a very particular way we need to do that. So this kit here comes with the stone and a mat to keep it from moving. It comes with lapping fluid because you never want to use a diamond stone dry. It's just going to clog up the diamonds and you're going to find it doesn't cut at all. So we want to make sure we use a good quality petroleum-based lapping fluid. Water is not the best thing on these. It can cause issues, especially putting water on my expensive tools. I don't like to do that. So lapping fluid, the stone, the anti-slip mat. Then it comes with leather strop and diamond paste, and this gives you really your final edge. And it comes with an eraser. Once this does start to discolor and kind of clog up, no matter how much lapping fluid you put on there, some will work its way down. You can come in and clean off the stone with this little stone cleaning eraser. So to condition our stone, first off, we want to take the lapping fluid and open it up. And I just like to open just a little corner. We don't need a ton of it, just enough to wet the surface of the stone. Let's go a little more there. Okay. Now our goal here is to break off that loose layer of diamond on top. And to do that, I'm going to take a plane blade. I'm going to lay the back flat on the stone. And here's the key with diamond stones. Let the diamonds do the work. I don't like to do more work than I have to. So that means very, very light pressure and just let the diamonds cut. And one of the key things that you'll find with diamond stones is you may be able to hear them cutting, but you can feel them cutting. So we're going to do this a handful of times. We're just going to really rub that iron around. And our goal here is not necessarily to flatten the back of the iron, but our goal is to use the iron to break apart all those diamonds that are just stuck to the surface. Okay, so after a minute or so of breaking off those diamonds, I don't know if it shows up well or not, but I have some metal that's came off of the back of this, and it shows up on my finger. What that is those are metal particulates, and there's also loose bits of diamond on there. Now the worst thing you can do is flip this over and use this iron on the finer side. Because we have those bigger diamonds, it's just going to put scratches in that finer diamond surface. So we really, really, really want to clean this off nice and well, just like that. Make sure there's none of that diamond dust or metal shavings left on there, and you can see on the paper towel everything that came off. We'll also dry off this side of the stone. Okay, now we can do the same thing with this 1000 grit side. And again, loose pressure, very light pressure. You just want this stone to do all the work for you. And really, again, we're just looking to break off those top surface of diamonds. We want to get down to that good adhered electroplated diamond base. Now, the one thing with diamond stones, and talking to James Barry, who designed these stones, he says that after a couple of years, which I haven't had mine that long, but after a couple of years, the fine side of these stones just gets better. He said he has a stone that he has used for a number of years at trade shows. He said he wouldn't trade it for any other stone in the world because it just cuts so well after being used for so many years. Try to do that with a water stone, and I think you'll find that you're flattening the water stone down to nothing. So there we go. And again, we got some of that swarf on there where the metal has came off. I can see a good even scratch pattern on here, which means it's cutting very well. And now that stone is basically ready to use. Now to sharpen on this, what I like to do, we'll put a little bit more lapping fluid on there. And I always freehand sharpen. You can absolutely use a sharpening or honing guide if you'd like. I just find freehand sharpening is much quicker for me, and that's one of the things I like about diamond stones is they're fast. So I just rock it until I feel the bevel make contact, lift up just slightly, and then just light pressure. You can really feel those diamonds cutting as you're doing this. And on the back side of this, I can feel a little bit of a wire edge. That means I've sharpened clear up to the very end of the blade. Now you can come back and just take a stroke on it to remove that burr, or a lot of guys, and myself in particular, will often come over, lay this blade perfectly flat, and then just slightly lift the back end. And if you just give it just a little bit of back bevel, that really helps you make sure you have a good sharp edge. And you feel that it's nice and sharp, and I could do 99% of my woodworking with that edge that's on that blade now. But we can take it a little bit further. Let me show you how. Now the other part of this system is going to be getting a really good keen edge on there, even more so than what the 1000 grit gives you, which is a really nice, good woodworking edge for almost everything I do. Instead of going to the wood off of that, we're going to use this, which is a mirror paste. Think of this like a stropping compound, but instead what it has on it is it has diamond particulate inside. So we'll charge up the leather strap with this stuff. We don't need a ton. Get that on there. I always get asked whether you put this on the rough side or the smooth side. It's really dealer's choice. I always use the rough side just because I think it holds the compound a little bit better. But I know a lot of guys that put it on the smooth side. So because this is basically a strop, we are not going to push the blade. We're going to pull it. So what I'll do is I will find that bevel angle and I will make some strokes on it. And you can see how quickly that mirror paste is turning black. Just because it turns black doesn't mean it's not cutting still. It's still going to cut. What that black is actually the metal shavings that it's pulling off. They're microscopic. And this really puts a good edge on here. It's called mirror paste for a reason because it does just give you a good mirror polish on it. And one thing I like about this thick strop is it gives you a little bit of a convex edge on there. and it just seems to cut really, really nice. So now I will do the same on the back of the iron. And I'll kind of bounce back and forth in between the front and the bevel a handful of times. In my opinion, you can't strop enough. It's only going to prolong the edge and give you a sharper edge. There we go. Now that is a sharp edge on there. That would do pretty much anything I need in my shop. Except sharpen a couple of things that you don't usually think to sharpen. Let me show you those. Now, one of the beautiful things about diamonds is it cuts quickly, but they're also extremely hard. So they will cut extremely hard material. So something like this guy, which is a straight router bit. So when this guy's dull, usually what I'm going to do is either send this in to be sharpened, or I'm going to buy a new router bit, which seems like a waste of money. And the problem is, usually when it's dull, I'm in the middle of a project and I don't want to wait to send this bit in. But with diamonds, you can sharpen this. And that's where this guy comes in. And these are little card sharpeners. And these are handy little buggers. I use them when I am turning, for touching up turning tools between grindings, but they work extremely well on little things like this carbide. So very much like the stone, we need to use a little bit of lapping fluid on this. I've seen some guys use these guys dry. I prefer not to. I always prefer to use lapping fluid if I can. And then, because of that extremely thin profile that is still precision ground before it's electroplated, we can fit that in and fit that router bit right over top. And we can rock it until I feel that carbide sitting flat. And you can see how quickly that removes the carbide and really sharpens that up. Now, carbide has a huge granular structure, so it doesn't get razor sharp like high-speed steel does. But that really touched up the edge, and I can feel the difference between this used edge and that one I just honed. And that took maybe, what, 15, 20 seconds of sharpening to really get a good quality edge on there. So there you go. Now that guy is nice and sharp, and I'm going to go stick it back in the router table cabinet, and then the guys here in the shop are going to wonder why we have one randomly sharp bit, because that doesn't usually happen. Now these card sharpeners, this one in particular is 180 and 300 grit. We also have them available in higher grits, and I really like that I keep one in my apron. I mean, it's always there if I need to touch up something, which is really nice. This one's a 3 and 600 that I keep on me, especially when I'm doing turning and I need to put a good edge on a tool for a finished cut. But really, I know it sounds silly because we sell these now, but I really like the system, and I asked us to carry it because I've been extremely impressed with it. I've had a couple of diamond stones over the past number of years, and I just have never been happy with the performance of them. And I think once you pick up a good quality diamond stone like this, you'll be amazed at how quickly you can put an edge back on your tools and get back to work. Because that's one thing about woodworking. Everybody loves woodworking. They don't love sharpening, usually. If you do, you should get yourself checked out. So if you'd like to go ahead and order a set of this stuff or see what we have available, put some links below so you guys can check them out. Or if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and we'll try to hit as many as we can. So we'll see you guys next time.